I hear a lot about spreading the disease, and like you love the song and all. So I'm wondering about the song. How is it spreading the disease, and where the idea came from?
It's a song idea I had that actually I brought to Kelan. So when I originally wrote the song, I had written it under a different song title. So I had the intro riff and I had the verses written as what you hear right now. So what you're hearing is my verses and intro, and Kelan tacked on the chorus and the solo part. So that's kind of how the song idea came about. Like it was just kind of it's we're getting a lot of comments saying that we sound like Rat and they hear Motley Crue and things like that. And it's funny because I didn't hear it at the time, but listening back now, I can definitely hear how they've influenced the music.
Like I can remember that time. Glen, like, he sent me a WhatsApp with like, "Hey, I've got this new song," and I listened to it. I was like, the second I heard it, I was going, yes, and then I got to the chorus, I was like, that's not the chorus I hear. I was expecting it to go this way. So I sent him a message and said, "Would you be okay if I recorded how I was expecting to hear it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And I did, and the reason I think it's called spreading the disease or spreading the disease of love is to go with Glen's original lyrics, which are like, they're telling a story of what, I may be interpreting this wrong, Glen, but is it a prostitute?
I think it's anything that you want it to be. Like, I think everybody has their own kind of ideas of the lyrics, and they can't either relate or they can't. But I think there's a certain sense of it's a dark sense, and whatever that dark sense is to you is your own business. In that kind of sense.
Well, because I was interpreting it as that, so I said, okay, well, I can't. There's not too many ways a chorus vocals can go. Spreading the disease, okay, a bit dark. Spreading the disease of love, okay, well, there's a twist. So then I sent that back to him, and he liked it. So that's how we went with it.
I'm now very interested in this song. And Pete, had you any interpretation when you saw the song?
Not really, no. I just love the song. Sorry. No, it's a very well written song, and I enjoyed recording it. That's just boring answer, but it's just me.
Now, Pete's funny. Like we all, like, when we all go into record, like Kelan will say the same as well. We all go into record, and each of us takes, I don't know, maybe a half an hour or 45 minutes on just one song. So like our own part is like taking up that amount of time. Pete like straps on his bass and okay, the whole EP is done. See you guys. So, like,
he'll do songs in one take.
Oh yeah, one take Pete.
Very easy.
Like me and Glen, like Pete gets it perfect on the one shot, but me and Glen are like perfectionists. And can we do that bit again? Can we do that bit again? So it becomes, instead of like, you take a 3-minute song, but you spend ages just doing 30 seconds of it, and just you keep doing it until you hate yourself. And like, we've had fights in the studio before because you just get angry at yourself and then everyone else because you're not doing it right, and then and then
it's funny. Like, you walk away from it for like 10 minutes and you come back and you're like, oh yeah, I guess you were right. Yeah. Let's do it your way.
Or you'll come back and you'll hear, oh, I know how to do it now. Yeah. And then you'll just do it. So sometimes it's a break that we need there, but I can't even remember what the first question was. Oh yeah, Pete's really fast at recording and we're not.
I have my moments when it doesn't work out, but I try to keep things simple. I think that's my thing.
Good stuff. So yes. So guys, what are you listening these days? Except W.A.L.K.E.R. Do you have any bands that you listening these days? Let's start with Keith.
Recently, I was listening to some Mr. Big. They're a big influence. The guitar player is a big influence on my playing, and I suppose my writing as well. And we've covered them before as Walker. So I was listening to some of them. I was listening to some Dokken.
Okay.
Like my influences range from kind of the mid to late 80s, early 90s, and then some new bands that are kind of doing that sort of stuff. Santa Cruz would be one of them. Denman would be another. And those are just new bands that are playing kind of the hard rock category of music. So that's what I listen to anyway when I'm listening to music.
Santa Cruz is from South America, if I'm not wrong.
Finland, I think.
Finland. Okay. Maybe I confused with other bands. Glenn, what are you listening these days?
I've actually been listening to a lot of vinyl recently these days. So I've been playing a lot of vinyl. I'm, playing the likes of Guns N' Roses and all of that. But also I'm a massive Kiss fan. So I'm playing a lot of Kiss. The singer Paul Stanley has just put out a new album. So I actually got it today in the post. So I've been playing that as of recently. So it's been pretty much Spotify when I have to, and when I can actually sit down and relax, it's vinyl.
Okay, that's very good. And Pete?
I've been listening to a good bit of AC/DC recently. Just been in the mood, with everything going on, and the new album I said is a brilliant one. And I've also been going back to some 80s stuff, listening to a good bit of Billy Idol. Because I always loved his music. I always loved his music. So, and it's good old school stuff, and it cheers me up, I suppose.
Time for some random Irish question. What would be your most favorite Irish celebration and why?
I'm not here.
No.
Gone.
I'm going to be typical. I love St. Patrick's Day. I just love the buzz of it. And it was the last two have been quiet for obvious reasons, but in general I just love the buzz of it. It's just a good feeling. I enjoy it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say my birthday. I think it counts because it's an Irish day.
And you're Irish, so it all starts with your parents. So.
Interesting answer. And what about you, Kelan?
They all took the good answers. I don't think there is any other Irish holiday other than St. Patrick's Day. But I'll just pick a different holiday because I've only ever celebrated it in Ireland, so Christmas. I like Christmas.
Yeah, this is my favorite,
Yeah.
Our favorite.
Amazing. So, Kelan, let's start with my question with you. So nobody picks all the good answers, so you can come up with a good one. For those who are visiting Ireland for the first time, what's the first thing the tourists should do?
Sanitize your hands.
Yeah. The first thing I think that they should do is go to Grafton Street. That's unlike a normal world where there's people and stuff. That's kind of best built up place, or maybe Temple Bar. Actually, that's the place. They should go to Temple Bar because that's about as Irishy as a tourist would expect, I suppose. It's got the cobblestones and it's got the pubs that are Irish based, so that's probably the best place to go, I suppose.
Cool. So, Glen, Pete?
You go, Glen.
What would be the places to visit? I personally love the venues, and the bars, just for the environments. So I would go with those. That would be my pick. Specific venues, I love the Olympia Theatre. I love the Tree Arena. It depends, obviously, on who you're seeing or who you're going with. But the environment, Timber McGee's, come see us. You know, go see a Walker show. I think it's about the cool environments like that.
Yeah, I agree with the venues. First thing they should do when they come in, once they get settled in, is visit the Guinness Storehouse. Not for free pints now, but it's a great place. I've actually done lots of gigs in there,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's quite a setup. And then after that, yeah, go down Temple Bar, Grafton Street, finish the night in Fibbers, and then maybe go to Lanigan's, which is down the quays for a quick one before turning in for the night.
I never been to Guinness
Before
Store. I'm here 20 years.
It's a good place, definitely. Yeah.
So on the bucket
I've done
list
gigs at
after
a few events.
Nice view.
Lovely view, yeah, brilliant view.
And of course, Guinness. Okay, so guys, let's go to alcohol. Bushmills or Jameson?
Okay, I'm just gonna say Bushmills, just from experience. Bushmills or Jameson. I'm gonna say Bushmills.
Pete?
I used to drink Jameson, but I don't really drink whiskey anymore. I'm for a night where I'm relaxing, I have a gin and tonic or a gin and Coca-Cola.
Okay.
So, but if I had to choose, I'd say Jameson maybe.
1-1 and Kelan?
I'm going to say Jameson because it's the only one I know.
Yes, because you don't drink. Yeah, okay. So
you can only smell it.
Jameson 2-1. Yeah, I start to drink more whiskey in the lockdown period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the band. I have a question about radio. So how did you guys manage to get onto Radio Nova, and what was the feeling?
And that's it's kind of like the Michael Wagener thing. You just got to ask, expect a no or expect no answer at all. But we were talking to Tony Ainscoth, who he does the rock show on Nova, and just said, "Hey Tony, we're releasing new music. Would you like to listen to it? Here it is." And he liked it, so asked if we'd come on the show and talk. So it's I think about getting on any radio station or getting anything is asking. It's always the hardest thing to do, is ask, because of the fear of a no. But it's proven, at least in our case, that it's worth asking at every turn.
I think as well, just
say yes.
to add on to that, I think as well, I think sometimes people have fear of rejection and almost the fear not to ask because they, inside that your music kind of doesn't cut it, and maybe they're not going to play you, and maybe this or that. I don't really have the fear. I'd be kind of more of the mindset that if they said no, okay, well, somebody else is going to say yeah. And then when they say yeah, the people that said no are going to say yeah again. I would be confident that our music is going to get played. I think there's an audience for it. And I do think that we have what it takes to be, a playable band.
It's all just about asking. So that's how we did it. You just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great answer. If somebody said no, yeah, somebody else would say yes. For sure.
Yeah.
So something else now. The purple color of W.A.L.K.E.R. Does it any specific reason why do you choose to represent the band with this color?
I actually don't remember why it was chosen as the color, but I know that it is my favorite color, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't really know what came first, the chicken or the egg. But
if I remember correctly, I remember like it was the early days of like it was really just me and Glen, and it was like we were doing acoustic shows, and okay, it's time. We know we're called W.A.L.K.E.R. It's time to do a logo, and I made like 20 of them, and I sent them all to Glen. And like as you're scrolling through, the purple one stood out. So oh yeah, that one. And then it just kind of it looked the brightest, I suppose, or it was the first thing that your eye went to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just kind of stuck with it. But yeah, I like purple too. Purple is a nice color, an underrated color.
High five. I like purple. 3. Me 3.
I like
Purple as well.
I like deep purple. So all we like purple. That's good.
It also it works well like if you're on a list of bands and everyone's got their logo, and most bands have like black logos, and then you've got a big bright purple one. Everyone looks at the big bright purple one, so that kind of is nice too.
It certainly stands out.
Good stuff. So, guys, I know Kelan said some influence of his influences like Dokken and stuff. So, can I ask you what is your top 3 favorite bands? Let's start from Kelan. You said.
Okay, top 3 favorite. All right, Wasp are my first number 1.
Great band.
Def Leppard would probably be my second. And my third would be Warrant. I think Warrant are incredibly underrated. They kind of got penned in with just 1 song or 2 songs. When if you actually listen to most of their albums, it's But if you listen to like Uncle Tom's Cabin or anything, it's totally different. So those would be my top 3.
Glen,
Can we pick us?
except Wagener.
My number 1 favorite band would be Kiss. My second favorite band, I'm going to pick Guns N' Roses. And then number 3, I'm going to have to go with Motley Crue. I think they're just the main influences for my writing and listening and all of that. It's been around me all the time, you know.
Being a session guy, I'm kind of the wrong guy to ask because I've got so many. But in terms of rock and metal, I suppose my first one would have to be Iron Maiden, because starting off on bass, Steve Harris was a huge influence for me.
Yes.
Second, I'd go for AC/DC because they were the first band I ever got to see live. And secondly is I was going to say Toto, but they're not really hard rock. So I'll go. There's a band called Hardline, which I really like.
Oh, Hardline.
Neil Sean from Journey, and it was his side project, I think it was in the early '90s, and I just love their songs. There was one I found on YouTube, which was only originally released in Japan, called "Love Leads the Way." Very, very catchy. I'll go with that.
Crazy Italian guy. Yeah, we've seen Hardline 2 years ago, I think, in the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great band. I hope someday they come here, but difficult.
Yeah. They toured with Extreme in '92. I'm not sure if they played here with them.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
We have a viewer's question there from Brian Rooney. Which band would Walker like to open for?
That's a good
Who's first?
Sure.
I'd say.
Go ahead, Kelan.
My number 1, I'd say I'd love to open up for probably Guns N' Roses. That would probably like be the ultimate one, because you're opening for Guns N' Roses. There isn't much more to say to that. That would be an experience and a half.
Ben?
Good.
I have to go with Kiss. If I saw that Kiss logo and my band's logo underneath that is the ultimate. If there's a second option, yeah, of course it's Guns N' Roses. I agree completely with you.
They're good choices. I'll go with Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'll be.
Yeah.
Hysteria was the first album I ever got, so yeah, they go back a long way for me.
Yeah, they're great.
Great picks. So, Kelan, can you tell us more about your YouTube channel?
Oh, I make videos about guitar playing, that sort of stuff. Guitar equipment, guitar players and that stuff. It's it would really only be interesting for people who get to the nerdy side of guitar stuff, I think.
So
It's
you,
not the majority of people watching this.
so you're doing like a scientific approach, a musical theory approach to this channel?
Yeah, to a degree. I do look at certain things. Sometimes it's like the culture around certain playing and the equipment that's used in things. And then sometimes it's just demonstrations of different equipment.
So
it ranges.
To get the idea straight of your YouTube channel, it's more an educational one than teaching like people really to use the equipment, like say.
Yeah, no, I do something more. It's more talking than playing, I suppose.
Cool. So it's like different content.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Glen, you have done many live shows yourself with on the Facebook. So how the idea came from, and have you ever thought to do together something with Kelan?
The idea came from lack of playing. Like, we need to get out and play. So, like, what can you do? You need to make the best of a bad situation, I suppose. So, like, it came as a pretty easy idea. Like, I have an acoustic guitar that I love to play. So why not extend the invitation and have people there to watch you and actually want to hear some music? So that's where the idea came from. And there's actually going to be a few more happening soon. So it's a cool time you brought it up now. But yeah, that's where the idea came from. And as for playing with Kelan, I don't really like the guy. I can't say. No, we would love to. It's just a matter of time. Like, obviously, when things happen when things get back to some kind of stage that we can get in the same room together, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, the problem with live streaming and playing together is you just can't keep in time with each other because of lag. So it'll sound terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be in the same room. Yeah.
That's good.
But when it's allowed, we'll be back.
Yeah, but it's a good practice to keep in shape, so because you don't play live.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. Any favorite guitarist, Kelan? You said
favorite
before.
guitarist would be probably Paul Gilbert from Mr. Big and Racer X. He's where my playing influence comes from. I learn a lot from listening to his playing and then kind of just trying to figure out what he's doing and then doing it myself and then going from there.
Cool.
Good stuff.
So last round of Irish questions. I have a very weird one. So Ireland is full of leprechauns and fairies. Have you ever got a chance to see any of them?
Only when I've gotten to like here.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got the same answer as Glen, only.
Well, if you squint on St. Patrick's Day, I'm sure you can see something.
Okay.
And your favorite place to be in Ireland? Let's start with
My favorite place to be in Ireland. There's a few. There's a place that I grew up near, which I haven't been to in a while. And it's a lovely place, the Hill of Tara. It's said to be in America, said to be where St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland, or that's the legend of it anyway. But it's a lovely, serene area. And I live right beside the Phoenix Park, and it's lovely to walk there on sunny days.
Cool. Kelan? Except today.
Yeah, except today, yeah.
I'd probably say my favorite place is city center, because like as much as rural is nice, kind of gets a little bit boring quickly. or at least for me, I like a busy city, so that's probably my favorite place.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fibbers on a Saturday night, nothing like it.
Yes.
And Glenn,
I would say the city centre too. But I would say it's my favorite time to be there would be when it's the summertime. I love the idea of you don't have to worry about having a jacket in your bag or any of that kind of stuff. You can just go and enjoy the day. I love when it's calm and it's nice. The city centre is the place to be.
Dunleary is another place I just want to say. I love that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that place.
very
I love
nice. Yeah.
It's all weather permitting. When it's sunny, any place is nice. If it's still like day, anywhere indoors.
And full of
Yes.
Well, Dunleary is nice even on a bad day because you can still, whether bad weather or not, you can the waves crashing against the rocks. It's therapeutic.
Amazing. So let's go a little bit more to the band. So about live, what live gigs did you do, and Irish tour? Can you tell us more about it?
Well, the Irish tour that we did, it was a small one, but rock isn't a huge thing in Ireland, but we think it could be. It's got the possibilities because, well, as we approach it, it's supposed to be fun, and we're very much about an energetic live show. We like moving around. That's an important part. Standing still is kind of a no-go. Swapping sides of stages and everything. So we had this idea that, well, we could bring that as a self-contained kind of thing to some more rural areas in Ireland. So we picked Mount Mellick, and we picked what was the other place?
We played Lost Lane.
Yeah, we did play that. That was a city centre. But we had the idea of bringing this show kind of across Ireland a little bit, kind of, and we did, and it was fun. It was an experience. It's probably like if I think we were probably one of the only rock bands ever to play in some of those places.
Like which?
So well, like even the city centre one, like Lost Lane was a place that was designated for dancing and like raving and stuff, and then we showed up with marshals, and so it's kind of fun to do that sort of stuff, but it's different. But you're kind of varying on the crowd. Like you go to Fibbers, it's almost like a guaranteed crowd. There's people always there. There you're dependent on advertising, which is hard to do, especially in like the rural areas. Although that does play into it as well, because it's like the only thing that's happening that night. You're not competing with 16 other venues who have 16 other things on. You're the one thing. So bringing a show to a town is kind of fun. I like that. But haven't done it in a while. Can't do it now.
How did you chosen your venues, or how did you choose which town to go to?
Well, looked at a map of Ireland and looked at the venues and contacted them. And again, contact everyone, and then you'll get no's, or you won't get any response from others, and then you get a few yeses. You go, oh yeah. And it's an unusual. If you pick like a small town like Mount Mellick, we were absolutely guaranteed 100% the only rock band that's ever played in that town. But yeah, we still have like, because of that show, 2 people traveled from there to our shows when we were playing multiple shows. So as far as I'm concerned, it's worth it going out to the places where other people won't.
And getting the people to know you. It's like you go into a village and they're like, what's that? Like,
yeah, and you show up kind of looking the way we do. It's a little bit unusual in certain small towns and villages, and that plays to like, that's a strength that we can play to. Pictures of us on like the poster that we were putting through letterboxes. That's probably it's an unusual experience to do, but it's an
Yeah, like
enjoyable.
when I was living in a little town called Roscrea in Middle Tipperary. Yeah, if
I know that.
if
mum-
if a rock band would come, I would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mum grew up in Toomey Barra.
All right.
So like if the way we're looking at it is it's small numbers of people, but the more, because you're only playing small towns, right? But the more amount of small people, it eventually builds up into a really big amount of people, and eventually you can play like an arena with all those people. So it's a slow project, but you steadily build up more and more and more. And if anything, the pandemic does even more to help us, because when everything lifts and everything goes back to being able to do that, we'll be one of the only bands that are bringing shows to those really small places.
Yeah.
Like forget the genre, we're probably going to be the only one that's actually doing it. So, and I can't wait.
You play to Galway?
No, we didn't get to Galway. No.
Sally Long, if I'm correct, the rock bar.
Ah,
And I think it's in Galway.
we'll have to have a look.
Yeah,
There's a few places there.
yeah. Galway's a nice place. And Cork.
So we have a viewer's question there. Is there any country you would love to play in?
I would love to play in Brazil. I think the
Wow. Very
Say
fun.
again?
Very fun, eh? Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, I think there's just such an asking and such a want for rock music there that it almost lifts you off your feet. Like all the big bands play Brazil, so like Brazil for me would probably be the number one outside of Ireland. Then give me anywhere else, I'll play anywhere. I'll play in your kitchen if you have enough people there. But I don't want to. I just want to play.
Wow. Great one.
Our kitchen is quite big. Come on.
Even if it's small, I don't mind. I'll play.
But you're making jokes, but in Netherlands there was a program or something like that was Anneke coming to your household. So she was traveling the country and she came to your house and she was doing a concert there.
Wow.
Really?
Anneke?
Yes, Anneke van Giersbergen, without joking. I don't know if it was a contest or something, but at least the idea of this coming to your home, it really stuck with me. So I don't know the specific anymore, but the fact she played in somebody's home, it was like, what?
It sounds like a really good idea and a really bad idea.
Yeah, everyone can touch you and the equipment, not sweet.
Well, all I know is I don't want to be the mother that cleans everything up the next day.
Okay, let's back to viewers' question. So, Kelan?
I kind of want to just play America. Just because, like, the music that I listen to, all of it's come from there. So it would be nice to play to an audience that kind of are familiar with that. And then you've also got like a whole host of bands. Like the idea of playing on the Sunset Strip would be so cool, because that's the place to be for that type of rock music. So that's my choice.
Nice. And Pete?
I've played a lot of places. I've done UK, Europe, East Coast of America, back a number of years ago. Where else would I like to play? I'm trying to think of a specific country now that I'd love to play.
Something that you wanted to do but maybe didn't work out, or something like that.
Not really. I suppose anywhere like, I suppose I wouldn't mind playing the West Coast of the States. Like LA, San Francisco, places like that. Canada even.
Yeah. Nice.
And eventually, you never know, extent to even Australia and New Zealand, places like that.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, and I've done a few European dates over the last few years. So yeah, I suppose there was the few countries I wouldn't mind playing yet.
And which European countries did you play at?
I did a few in Italy. I've done a few in Germany, France. Did one in, I think, was it Hungary, the Czech Republic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few others which kind of slip my mind at the minute. But
Cool. You guys must be jealous now, Pete.
I'm so jealous.
Pete's done everything that we want to do.
Get there and you'll do more.
Been to Greece?
I haven't been to Greece yet. No. Yeah,
You
it's
have
another
to
place I
go
wouldn't mind going to.
all together.
Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were saying earlier, when Pete will come over to a show and he'll play the show and then he'll leave for another show. And you were asking, is it a long trip between? I'm expecting one of these days that Pete will play a show with us and say, okay, I have to go play a show in Tokyo now and get on a plane and go do that. I'm expecting it.
Back in the days of Concorde, that might have been possible.
Yeah.
Mm.
I see we have more questions, no?
There's one, I think, at the bottom.
From Julian.
What does rock mean for us? I think it's a way of life, and I mean that in the least cheesy way possible. Like, I think it's kind of like something that's embedded in you. Like, if you took music away, I don't have anything. You know, like, and I mean that again in a positive way. But I mean, it's been something that has built me to the point where this is what I am. I am this person that's completely filled with music. It's been completely surrounded in my whole life. And that's what rock means to me. It's a way of living. It's a way of life. It's always on.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's couldn't have said it better myself, I suppose.
I'd say it's a bit fun. I don't think I've ever turned it on to feel sad. I guess rock music is always fun, and it is a way of life. Like my first concert was Motorhead when I was 10. So like
Nice.
so even and like one of my first memories was listening to it was Wasp. And I was in the back of the car, and they had like a stereo effect of chains going. I think it was The Torture Never Stops or whatever. And I was like 4, and I remember that because it's the chains. So I was raised on rock. So I'm there with Glen. Rock is a way of life, but it's also about fun for me.
Yeah.
Motorhead, where?
Was it? I think it was the Olympia or something. I was 10, so probably about 12 years ago. It was my first
Olympia,
show. Yeah, it was the Olympia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our last question. What would be your plans for the future?
Play a live show. That's the goal right now.
Yeah, play live shows.
Yeah.
I love the big one for me that kind of it almost gets glossed over. Everybody talks about the live shows, but I love sitting in the studio and just figuring things out, having the arguments, writing songs, and just hashing stuff out and recording stuff. Oh, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but it's the making of the music that for me it really excites me. The playing shows, obviously, that's great too, but the exciting part for me is the studio stuff. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into the studio personally.
Yeah, I miss the gigs. I miss the gigs hugely, of course. But like Glen said, if the studio on the weekend, I don't mind the only time I don't mind getting up early on a Saturday morning is to go into the studio. But for anything else, it's a pain. You know, I've worked all week. I want to sleep in on Saturday. Going to the studio. Hey,
Yes.
grab me bass and I'm out the door.
Cool.
I love the studio. Yeah, it's a great. It's a. I just love it.
But how do you think will be after this situation? Will be the same or will be the new normal for the gigs?
I hope it's the same.
It will get there. It will get there. God, it's anyone's guess. I mean, I could go. You can go along. Oh, vaccines this, vaccines that. But I think once everyone who wants them, gets them.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing turns from a pandemic into an epidemic, and I think by that stage, I think maybe more doors can be opened.
A sign of hope, I think, is Australia. You know, you look at like they're having gigs. New Zealand, they've got shows. So if they can do it, we can eventually get there.
Let's go to New Zealand.
And Israel too.
I think one of the reasons they can is that they've stopped international travel. I
Yeah.
think that's why.
Yeah.
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 And I don't know if the Brexit thing will be a problem also.
It probably won't be for us because we've got the Irish
Common travel area.
Yeah, the common travel area.
Yeah.
But I feel really bad for any English bands that want to play anywhere in Europe because that's going to be a lot tougher for them.
Yeah.
Or bands to touring to England and come here will be a problem.
Well,
I don't
to
know.
tour from, I think one of the big things was transporting gear.
Yes.
If you want to bring all your amplifiers and stuff, you have to get that all checked through customs, and that's going to be a much bigger pain to do than it used to be.
Or you
So-
go through France, but then you have longer boat, and then you get seasick. So
Yeah.
There's a great company that does rental gear here. I've rented it for tours, a session, and bands can often rent gear to come and play over here. So saves them having to travel across, bring it all over in a ferry.
if some bands are listening, then I just come here with the flight and just rent you gear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the solution because already Ireland is a not easy destination for bands.
Yeah.
Only they're touring from in the UK.
Yeah. So I think that was all for tonight.
Mhm.
So first of all, we want to thank the viewers for participating with the questions and so on, and subscribe as we will be back next week. And also join our group to keep up to date with the Metal Galaxy news, and of course support W.A.L.K.E.R and so on. All links are below the YouTube video, and we will post also in our group all links so you can support the band. And we want to thank W.A.L.K.E.R, Glen, Pete, and Kelan for joining us, having a crack, telling us about W.A.L.K.E.R and about Ireland. So now I'm passing the microphone to W.A.L.K.E.R.
We want to say thank you guys very much. Thanks a lot for the questions. Thanks to Metal Galaxy for supporting the band. We really appreciate it. And we hope to be back. If you have us back, we're there.
Awesome. So hopefully we will see each other
Yes.
live, like in a gig or something. But for now, that was it.
Yes. Hopefully,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you.
Thank you.
Good night. Good
Cheers.
night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Have a good one.